Let me read this from Duane here that wrote the other day. It's like a response to a question regarding how an individual can create a better physical level experience in life. Duane says it's not an easy place, and the system's already been created. So for the most part, people have to go along with the system and try to do something with their life here. The reason everyone is here is to recognize the bigger part of life. We've all come through what we have, and most people have come through religion or spiritual paths, etc., and that's fine. Except these things, like when we were raised by our parents, are babysitting things. So now we're coming to the next step and thinking it's all the same thing, and it's not. And that's a big step for people, from my experience, is getting off that spiritual path, religious kind of area to what we're presenting. So now it's like, but now you're bigger, and it's like you have a job to do. That job is about you waking up and recognizing what's going on in the world and the true reality life is. But that's a decision you make. A lot of people don't want to wake up. And for the most part, they just want to go along with the social order, which is understandable. If you look at history and go back even 100 years, all the promises and good life and times, yes, people have had these things, but really, overall, it's become worse. And it keeps getting worse every day. So much for the lifestyle here. It's really about survival and waking up. When it comes to the details, this is where the individual investigates themselves, not just being hand-fed everything right here for them. They decide to investigate this. This becomes their adventure and journey with their own experience. I'm not going to go into the detail on how to build a rocket ship. If a person wants to go to the moon, then they're going to have to figure out that for themselves. I give the basic ideas, because just going over the basic ideas of anything here is a whole lot. Look at the Skypes, the blog talk radio shows, the books and groups I've written, and I've just barely touched the surface. But it's not that we're going to change the world. We can't do that. The world is set into what it is decided. The best you can do is get along and figure out your part with this, and how you in some way can become involved and step up and support those who are really doing something. I see this as very important, and I see at the same time people vacillating. Wait, it is it is their choice. Again, it's getting down on the playing field. Do you want to just be a spectator and watch the game, or do you want to get involved? Many people, right away, many people are thinking in this is the right way, etc., but life is an isness, and what makes sense? Take the time to make sense of it, or don't. We do. We make sense, and just the explanations alone should show it. The best part is the new you on the real side. As you start to see things and you hear experiences from others too, what makes sense? The birds make sense, but people don't pay attention to the birds. The birds' lifestyle makes sense. There's more to looking at the birds than thinking how they just live in a nest, how they never go to the grocery store or movie theaters, etc. From the viewpoint of the birds, they're fine. But from the personal view of the human part, it seems a little bit funny. Again, it's a view. When it comes to the details of anything, it is a if a person wants to be a swimmer or a runner, these are things they decide for themselves. Really, the focus is the real universes, which is an isness, which is now. And that's the possibility that we're offering. And the individual, in their own way, figures it out. When it comes to their personal life, that's all their own. We get this all the time. People read the courses, they read the books, they want to know what's next, what else have you got, etc. We had an individual who has done all this for 4 years. He's read everything and still hasn't figured it out. He's asking about what to do next and to provide him with ideas. He should have figured it out by now. It's like going through high school and realizing at some point you're going to make your own life and make your own choices every moment. This is where still the world is lagging behind. Look at what we're doing and what the new friends are doing. They're stepping up and doing something. We don't have 9-to-5 jobs. We've made our lives of a particular, so we don't need that at this time. And we have other things going on too. We're creatively supporting ourselves here so that we can present this to the world, because the world is on a very last forward self-destruct. They're exposing a lot of these underground tunnels. Now on Facebook, they're going to get everyone underground, the people that are left, that is. This is why they built subways and things like this, to get people used to going underground, and how it seems like a cool idea. They could have built monorail systems down the street, but no, they decided to go underground. Getting people ready to live beneath the surface, like on Mars, and this is where the world's going. This is why I take all the time I do to present this, because there's only so much time. If the person doesn't or hasn't developed their awareness more so than just their personal self, then they're going to be stuck here. That's just very real. This isn't a belief system. You really have to earn your way, really more so than you can imagine. The details of anything is that which each person must figure out for themselves. I'm not going to sit here and explain it to them. The systems have been purposely created to keep people passive and unaware and one-dimensional. You want to get through yourself. This is very real, and what is seen out there in the outer world is a creation to hold you to it. Most people look at the created stuff as something really good, how they have made progress. What you've done actually is bury the essentials underneath all that stuff and destroy them. Look at New York City and what's under that. All these buildings are headstones. That's a graveyard, and it will all become extinct after a while. The graveyard will still be there, but the people will be gone because of how everything is being poisoned. In the meantime, start to get creative and figure it out for yourself. I'm not going to be drawing plans for people. I'm already deciding certain things to go a particular direction. The new presentation is transforming, but people have to recognize that or they stay with their personal life. It's a much bigger picture constantly, and it's much better, but you have to learn to see. You're going to have your personal life. It's not going to vanish, but you've got to figure it out for yourself. It's the doing and the supporting. The mind process of thinking, and talking about it, climate change and all the funny stuff they have created, thinking by the very fact that people create these conferences and these ideas, these big seminars, that something's getting done, when in fact nothing is. Nothing is being done about it. It's only getting worse. But that's the idea. That's the overall plan. They don't want anything to be done. It's just sound good stuff. And we're the only ones that are providing a real education real guidance for the real universes, which is an isness now. We're the only ones, as everybody else has their sound good stuff, which keeps everybody in creation. The next step for everybody, for whatever they're going to do, is figure it out for themselves. It has nothing to do with me. It just becomes their personal adventure. And then can they figure out how to step up and stand real with the real guides. It's a step at a time. Over to you, Kevin. Do you have anything to finish it up with or anything?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate the importance and of how much impact the subconscious has, and how everyone unconscious of the effects of their subconscious, and how they feel that perhaps it will have no bearing and they can just dismiss it and it will be okay, and yet all these subconscious attachments and agreements stay with them and can stay with their personal selves for lifetime after lifetime, and they can keep manifesting and re-expressing themselves in different ways and forms, but they're always there. I won't share this experience which demonstrated that, but I'll just briefly touch upon it, in that I saw what looked like these alien beings in another universe and another dimension, and this was eons ago, and for whatever reason this particular group had a division of opinion, some personal self-distorted idea that separated them, and this separation they maintained in their subconscious vehicles and was never released. And I would have a view where I saw these same individuals eons later, and they were now reincarnated as humans on the earth, and still they had this subconscious idea and agreement to which they were maintaining their separateness from each other, but still intrinsically linked in a way. And so they were basically two individual groups in two separate secret societies, in fact. And it just goes to show that even after millions and millions of lifetimes, these same ideas are still lurking in the subconscious, and they're still affecting experience, and they're still involving and embroiling with, they're still connected with the same individuals that were involved in those experiences. And so all these people drag each other through lifetimes after lifetimes and still cling to these funny ideas that were created who knows how many thousands of lifetimes ago. And because they're subconscious to them, because they're subconscious and they're unconscious of them, they have no idea as to their specifics, and so they will just find themselves constantly dragging each other back and constantly embroiled in these same dramas and same things that could take them in, that could go on conceivably for eternity, until they finally face all their agreements and their attachments and their emotional entanglements, release them, let them go, and then they can release each other from all their bindings with all these other individuals, and finally have a chance to see and be something different. So I thought I would just finish with that.
Yeah, if the so-called planes, there's a literal sense, the physical, astral, causal, etc., are each bigger than the other ones below them, then the conscious level is huge, and we have so much going on with that, especially subliminals here, and all through our lifetimes before. I mean, that's a huge area. So, and if it's like most of it that we don't see, it's like we're there's more than we don't see than we see. The only way to get through it really is just to keep focused, because it's like huge area, but the focus on on our real intent, that's what bypasses all these effects that have been set up or we agreed to. So it's just that keeping that focus steady. That's important as I see it. Okay, Duane, do you have anything to finish up with?
No, but that's very good. Yes, the unconscious is the biggest part in the surface world. Well, it looks to be big, but there's really not that much here. It's all based upon agreement, and it's very shallow here. It's very shallow, flat surface. But yes, to study this, to understand this, to get through it, to stand real in the real universes, yes, you got to get through your baggage. You've got to be beside it. It's got to be real. So just do what you do, and sharing on Facebook, earning your way, very important. So, and there's a lot more. So there's a lot of material out there for people to go over and to study, make their own study courses. But yes, just like any job or career that you want, you've got to figure it out what you're going to do with your life. Well, this is the bigger picture. While you're working at your 9-to-5 job, you can do this, but you've got to figure it out. So again, the guidance is there, but the decisions you make, the decisions, and you figure it out how to get there. So, okay. Yes, and again, the new presentation is about the new nowness, which is the isness of life. It's not some place you're going to. It's simply recognize it. So you can recognize it right here in the so-called physical, because it's all an isness. You don't have to travel there or project or anything like that. But we still do these things, of course. But overall, just like the sun shining, the isness life doesn't move anywhere. It all is everywhere. So you become aware of everything. This is the cool part about it. You don't have to go anywhere. So that's the easy way. But it takes a while according to time and space. Have fun, everyone. It's all for you. Thank you for showing up. Yes, this is a big adventure. And to do your part, yes, it takes a lot, but it's worth it. It really is to get through this. So, for those of you that are very sincere, just look to the is and figure it out. You will, okay? When the guides can trust you and see that you're real and sincere, they will show you. Okay, all right. See you next time, everybody.